Well, here we go again with your forecast, Virgo. It's 2019. Happy New Year. I'm Dadici from astrology.com.au. I'm going to be sort of working from my notes today, so excuse me if I don't make long, drawn-out eye contact with you. It's important at the outset to say that 2019 is going to be a much more serious year than previous ones, but that doesn't necessarily mean you can't be happy and fulfilled. That's the case because of the Saturn and Pluto connection, which continue to make their testy transits through your fifth house of creativity and psychological health. Of course, greater responsibilities force you to view the world in a very different light. You've been feeling as if there's an important transition taking place throughout this period of your life. It's pretty significant. Saturn receives a favourable influence from Neptune as the year commences, and this means your goals in life have also taken on a very different complexion. You're starting to crystallise your vision of what your life means to you, and much of this hinges on the way you handle your relationships. Neptune is transiting your key relationship sector, the seventh house of your horoscope, and that therefore means you're raising the bar as far as what you expect from those most significant other people in your life. You know, as your standards may now be reaching new heights, you must expect some disappointments because not everyone's going to be able to live up to these expectations of yours. This is the case of at the best of times because, you know, we know how critical Virgo is. But now you're tuning into the most minute details. So with Saturn casting its sextile aspect, that's a 60-degree aspect on Neptune in this seventh house, you're not really in the mood for frivolous behaviour when it comes to romance. You expect a better calibre of person in your life, and if you're already involved in a relationship of a long-term nature, you'll be demanding that their behaviour is much, much better, in fact beyond reproach, as I say. So notwithstanding the above new attitudes you bring to your relationships and people generally, Jupiter and Mercury transit your fourth house as the year commences. That's very fortifying, and it indicates a great deal of happiness on the home front. Fourth house is your home and family. Could be that these new standards are sending out a very clear signal that you expect to be treated much better, and of course that will bring out the best in others. Maybe not. Maybe it'll bring out the best in those who get it. Communication should also be back on track, however, with Mercury receiving an exciting trine aspect from Uranus. So if it's not bringing out the best in others, you can use a little bit of that creative energy to make it so. You can attempt new means of interacting with those you love, and that will have a positive outcome for you. Jupiter hits a pretty intense transit after April 11 when it moves into its retrograde motion. Jupiter is the ruler of your spouse or any other long-term partnership, and it empowers the planet and the people that it rules. As long as you have your self-esteem well intact, any improvements in your partner status, emotionally, professionally, or financially, it will have little impact on you other than to give you a sense of shared joy. So it's actually a good transit. If you haven't yet attained that self-certitude, you may feel a little unhinged as you see your partner rising to the height of their profession and social sphere. This means you need a little more work on yourself, and you've got to get rid of that envy if that's sort of rearing its ugly head. You should rejoice in the joy of others. The Moon and Venus do, however, sweeten your communications overall by occupying the third house of your horoscope at the commencement of the year. They also receive a handful of aspects from Neptune and Mars, which allows you to connect on a spiritual level with others. You've got a need to socialise and share your experiences with people that count this year. Your style of speaking is going to change, with forceful Mars giving a lift to your third house. If you're ordinarily a little more shy or self-conscious in coming forward, this year will see a complete, if not dramatic, change. You want to be noticed and feel as if your contributions haven't really been taken seriously enough. You're sending out a very different signal this year, however, and that is going to affect a great deal of change. This new attitude not only helps you as far as your social and your domestic relationships are concerned. It does in fact have a marked and positive influence on the way you are received in your professional circles as well. Mercury rules your professional sphere, and with the previously mentioned positive aspect to Uranus, you're ready to try new things even if they're completely at odds with what you feel you're best suited to. In other words, you're not afraid to experiment this year and to explore some new avenues to fulfill your creative and professional destiny. Now, talking about work may also be done at home while Mercury transits your 4th house, with its move to your 5th house in the latter part of January. And that ensures a positive financial remuneration. Your creative and your ingenious mentality will find new ways to earn money, or at least to devise some plan for the future that you can steadily and confidently work towards. Now, for those of you who have people around you that are needy, you're going to be required to help them a lot more this year. Part of the added responsibility that I see here is that you're confronted with extra work from the people you work with. They're maybe not up to par, they're not capable of dealing with the tasks you are. So that means you must make sure that this is not an extension of your co-workers' laziness, but rather a genuine need on the part of others to share the load. Don't be a sucker for people who want to use you, Virgo. You've got to distinguish that. With your service-orientated mentality, it's easy for you to give more than is required. It's important to research your work while Uranus, which is your workplace planet, transits your deep and meaningful 8th house. You want to get to the truth, to understand more clearly your role within the group, and to present yourself in a fresh and self-empowered way with the correct facts. This is going to be tricky because you need to break free of some of your past fears. Out of habit, people expect you to act and to react the way you have forever. So when the start of this change happens, the new dynamic you will make others feel a little insecure and less self-empowered in themselves. So be careful that you ease them into this new you very, very gently. If you can use the powerfully transformative influences of Saturn and Pluto in your 5th house, this year you may be able to push yourself into some new vistas of creative exploration. Planets in the 5th house also have to necessarily influence your 9th house by what we call the trine aspect. And this influences your travels both mental and physically. It's an adventurous position, and it takes you on long journeys, fulfills those wished for experiences, and even takes you into new forms of study. Venus rules the 9th house, and that's your spiritual, legal and philosophically orientated zone. And with Venus making its way through your 3rd house in the early part of the year, this is considered a travel zone as well. So there's no doubt you want to make your way to some exotic location or interesting place in the coming months. You're feeling as if you deserve a break. Provides you with the opportunity to take a whole range of new and progressive experiences into your life, and that's what Uranus will generate this year. These transits also bring you in contact with some fascinating people, and they're resonating with exactly how you feel right now. So, in short, big change is underway for you, Virgo, in 2019. I've written a lot more on what's happening at astrology.com.au. I've written up on your romance and friendship. I've gone into more detail on your finances and your profession, and also your luck, your karma and spirituality. Why don't you check it out there, and do come back in February where I'll have more to talk to you about. Take care now, and again, Happy New Year. Bye-bye.